Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Everybody's all excited. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. We're going to get started now. My name is Sarah Benson. We're going to start with a couple of songs. If you'd like to stand, you may. And yeah, let's do it.
All that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace. Blessed peace is all that you are. You are blessed peace, God. Blessed peace is all that you are. You are deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy, God. Deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are.
Good morning, you gorgeous people.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Everybody hear me pretty well? Yeah? In the back there? A little closer. Okay. I know just what you're talking about, so I'm happy to oblige. Oh, here at the Center for Spiritual Living, our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Welcome to anyone visiting for the first time. There are visitor packets at each door, and they have a certificate to the bookstore, so they're very valuable. In 2022, we established the Legacy of Faith at the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Members of the Legacy are those who have demonstrated a giving consciousness by naming the center in their estate plans. To commemorate those generous donors, we will install a faith wall in the center. We would like you to help us come up with the visual concept. I know we've got a lot of artists out there. See the newsletter for more information, or the information table. It's just to the right as you leave. And then please join us on Mondays at 11. Add to your root and reboot, which is our theme for this year, by joining us on Zoom at the Spiritual Circle. It's 11 o'clock on Mondays, and we read the day's message, and then we read an article, but the richness of the conversation is just sometimes overwhelming. So it's really powerful. I really recommend it. And it's an hour. You don't have to drive anywhere. Push the Zoom button, and there we are. On this Thursday, January 19th, we will restart our New Thought luncheons. And that one will be here at 11:30. And that used to be the ladies' luncheon, but now it's everybody's luncheon, so please join us. And the people from other centers come too, so you can expand who you know. And Sharon is going to give us a new look for the New Year interior design workshop for the layperson. You don't have to know anything or be good at anything. She will straighten that all out. Yes, ma'am. Okay, and for those on a Zoom, if you are a friend and just want to be in this seminar, call the center and get hooked up, because all the proceeds go to the center. So we all benefit, and your homes and your life will look much better. And we believe in divine order, and so Sharon's here to deliver. Save the date and the time. And we're starting a new class on January 26th. I get to assist Reverend Bonnie with it. The book is This Thing Called You, and a lot of people have said it's some of the most accessible, earnest homes that you can get. This is going to be really rich. We've got a good number signed up. More would be even better. It's going to be powerful. So naturally, given that we follow Ernest here, we believe in the power of prayer. And we have a wonderful group of people that meet every Tuesday from all the New Thought centers in this city, and we pray with you for your concerns. So on the back of the seat in front of you is a prayer request form, hopefully a pen, or borrow your neighbor's. So please do that for us. We love to pray with you. It's a very powerful group. Also, after service, if there's anything you'd like prayer for, I'll be up here. Bob's available too, Liliane. It's just if there's something you'd like to take off your heart before you go home. But otherwise, and then don't forget the gratitude cards so that we can find out how Spirit is moving in your life and answering those prayers we just worked on. So that's that. And now it is time for song, silence, and prayer. I feel so blessed to be here with you, deeply in contact with Spirit. All the love in the room, the peace, the joy, the belonging, this beautiful community. We know that Spirit is blessing this service, that it is blessing each of us, and each of us will hear exactly the thing that will move us just to touch up the spiral of our life. That this time is blessed, we are exactly where we need to be, and that all is well. And so it is. I have an awesome reading from Ernest today. It's from this delightful book I've mentioned before, Creative Ideas, A Spiritual Compass for Personal Expression. It's just wonderful. This one is entitled, I Let Go of Restrictions. And it has a quote from Romans, if God be for us, who can be against us? Realizing that all action starts in and is a result of consciousness, prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. Become increasingly aware of the presence, the one life, and the one Spirit, which is God. The Spirit works through you according to your belief. So drop all sense of lack or limitation from thought. All things are possible to the Spirit. Therefore, everything is possible to you in such degree as you believe and accept the operation of Spirit in life. And there is that within you which is aware of its oneness with power, of its unity with life. And so here's a prayer that Ernest adds at the end of each of these. So if you want to go within, I now allow the divine wholeness to flow through me in ever-widening circles of activity. Every sense of limitation melts away, and every good I have experienced is now increased. Every joy that has come into my life is multiplied, and there is a new influx of inspiration into my thought. I see more clearly than ever before that my divine birthright is freedom, joy, and the experience of good. The divine is not limited, so as a creation of the divine, I let go of all restricting ideas. Knowing that life gives according to my faith, I lift my thought, I elevate my faith. I accept the divine presence as now bountifully expressing as peace and harmony in my life. And so it is. And now this special music. Good. Oh, yeah, very special music.
Very, very special.
This is indeed a very, very special piece of music. This is a song called Undiscovered Geniuses, written by a genius that I know in Canada who is being very discovered at the moment. He opened for Sarah McLachlan recently, and he's just a marvelous, marvelous singer-songwriter, Martin Kerr. This is Undiscovered Geniuses. This one's for the undiscovered geniuses. Or is it genii I never knew? Who write and paint and chisel in their bedrooms, known forever by the last name who? I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but
but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below.
You never had a hit song on the airwaves. You never broke out from the local scene. You didn't paint your walls with famous faces, and you prefer the window to the TV screen. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, dancing with your hopes and fears instead of chasing zeros. The beautiful don't jump before the cameras. The wisest people hardly ever speak. Every time we're sent a perfect teacher, we miss them 'cause we overlook the meek. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, harmonizing heart and hand, making stained glass from sand. So this one's for the folks who know they're precious, but no more precious than the garbage man. I kiss you on your cheek, not on a poster, 'cause genius wants a lover, not a fan. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but common knowledge doesn't know the jewels below. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, harmonizing heart and hand, making mirrors from sand. I know you're out there, I know you're in there, but cover stories can't uncover the true lover.
So not just an artist, not just a singer, not just a fabulous practitioner, we have Liliane Pilot to speak for us today.
That's the best bio anyone's done yet. I like it. Did you need this? Here you go. Oh, just let me jiggle a few things around here so I can see you. Thanks all for being here. You know, my title talk, if you read the newsletter, is Authenticity Coming Soon to a Theater Near You. A funny story. Reverend Bonnie asked me to speak in January and March in the same conversation. Of course, March is about authenticity, so off I went pitter-patter. But notwithstanding, it's all the same soup. This month is technically about root and reboot, and that suggests to me that we get back to basics. We bring our attention to our true nature and use the tools that we have been given to grow and to blossom. When we identify ourselves with the material world around us, and solely with the material world around us, we create distance with the sense of our own God nature. I know that my true identity does not lie in my country of origin or my genetics or my education or my formed beliefs. Our true nature exists with or without all of that stuff. The only question is, where do we want to put our attention? Based on my recent experience trying to write this talk starting Friday, because I thought it was going to be about authenticity and turns out it wasn't, it would seem I want to put my attention on just about any rabbit hole that shows up. Okay, there's a lot of really cool information out there, and I went after all of it. For example, did you know that there are like 24,000 universities in the world? Did anybody actually know that? It's pretty much the same ones, by the way, occupying the top 10. They change position a little bit, but anyway. What really caught my attention, though, was an article about entrenched beliefs in the academic world, and it's called Ideational Change, Why Is It So Difficult? It's by Paul H. Altroci, MD, and he says that many of these institutes for higher learning continue to perpetuate outdated beliefs in the academic world, despite evidence to the contrary. One would have to ask why this is. Wouldn't it make sense to be open and receptive to expanded thinking? Altroci's ideas aren't just restricted to academics. We all have entrenched beliefs. Says Dr. Joe Dispenza, we are addicted to our beliefs. We're addicted to the emotions of our past. We see our beliefs as truths and not as ideas that we can change. In his book, The Biology of Belief, Bruce Lipton says, in many ways, our image of the world is based on outdated ideas that have already been proven wrong. It's just that new findings haven't reached the collective awareness yet. And this brings me to my all-time favorite quote, which is the entire reason this talk exists. In the ocean depths off Madagascar, obsolete fish keep their laggard appointments, and in the depths of the human mind, obsolete assumptions go their daily rounds. And there's little difference between the two, except the fish do no harm. That's by Robert Ardrey. And I've known that quote my whole life, and I've never been able to find out who wrote it. And finally, after my 115th query with Dr. Google, I found it, which led me to Altroci, which led us here. So all of this is right down Altroci's alley. He suggests that a fascinating characteristic of our biological species is that we will readily accept changes to certain aspects of our daily lives, like new technology, the horseless carriage, television, the internet. But 97% of us will resist changing a fundamental belief for our entire lives, even when there's solid evidence, sometimes massive evidence, that we are wrong. He gives a wide variety of examples to show how embedded and obsolete ideas and practices are resistant to change. In 1959, there was a philosopher named Karl Popper, and he wrote, "At any moment, we are prisoners caught in the framework of our theories, our expectations, and our past experiences." And he goes on to say that most humans accept the ruling dogma of the day, do not wish to challenge it, and accept new revolutionary theory only if almost everyone else is ready to accept it. Winston Churchill was a little more succinct. He said, "I don't like to have my myths tampered with." And when all is said and done, maybe Hamlet was the smart guy. "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy." And I think that's likely closer to the truth. Ernest Holmes says, when we're dealing with real life, with thoughts, impulses, emotions, etc., we're dealing with causation, with original cause. And we should be most careful how we deal with such powers and forces. He goes on to say, we should be able to look at a wrong condition with the knowledge we can change it, and that our knowing must be gained through the application of our knowledge. In other words, we need to learn about the law and learn to control our thought processes. And an important tool for that is mental rehearsal. Dispenza is a big fan of that. There was a team of Harvard researchers, and they took a group of volunteers who had never before played the piano, and they divided the group in half. And one half practiced simple 5-finger piano exercises for 2 hours a day, over a period of 5 days. And the remaining half did the same thing, but just by imagining they were sitting at the piano without physically moving their fingers in any way. The before and after brain scans showed that both groups created a dramatic number of new neural circuits and new neurological programming in the region of their brains that's associated with finger movement, even though one group did so by thought alone. The folks who had mentally rehearsed the actions had brains that looked like the experience had already happened, even though they had never lifted a finger. And this applies in things like guided imagery in music. If somebody's got arthritic hands or a problem with their hands, one of the things that you'll play for them is some really fluid classical piano music, because the brain will begin to imagine the movement. There's another team of researchers from Ohio University, and they actually went so far as to wrap the wrists of 29 volunteers in surgical casts for a month. That's probably something I wouldn't have volunteered for. Anyway, that just ensured that they couldn't even unintentionally move their wrists. So half the group practiced mental imagery exercises 11 minutes a day for 5 days a week for a whole month. They were imagining that they were flexing the muscles and, well, in real life, they were actually completely still. They couldn't. And the other half, the control group, they did nothing. They just walked around with a cast on. So at the end of the month, when the casts came off, the muscles of the imagery group were twice as strong as those of the control group. Power of the mind, folks. Now think about the effect of constantly reliving the past through regurgitating past events and all the neurological chemistry that accompanies that. The body is responding as though the events are actually happening over and over again. This, of course, is the problem with like PTSD and that kind of thing. People can't shut off remembering, so the body relives it, and they trigger all kinds of stress responses. So here's where my talk title actually comes in. The mind is like a projector. Observe the projector instead of being lost in the projection, the images you have created as your world. So here's a true story. When my kids were young, I built them one of those massive wooden swing play centers in the backyard and had a platform on the side, and there was a tree here, and I built a platform there. And after it was all done, I don't know, I'd been playing with a lot of mental exercises at that time in my life, and when I climbed up in that tree and I sat on the platform and I disappeared the whole swing set. I stared, I mean, obviously this thing took up my vision of most of our backyard, but I stared at the grass and everything, and eventually, like the whole swing set kind of, it was like it dematerialized, like in Star Trek. Dematerialized, and I could see the grass, the fence, the garage, where the garden was, as if nothing was there. And then rearranged my focus, and turns out the whole swing set was still there. And that just taught me that the mind is an extremely powerful thing, but that things are not necessarily as concrete as they may appear. You know, we've all seen magicians and stuff. They can put their hand through a glass and all that. Well, how much of it is magic, and how much of it is their absolute knowing that things that appear material and solid aren't as solid as they appear? In his book, Becoming Supernatural, Joe Dispenza explains our neurochemistry and how it creates responses in the body and how that translates to the world that we create for ourselves. And he explains how mind and body work together to concretize our thought and how we can use this internal system to heal the body and to create the life that we desire. He builds a lot of bridges to help us understand how we are so much more than just a body. And he talks about the non-linear nature of time. He describes an experience in which, while in complete awareness of the present moment, an earlier version of himself was instructing a future version of himself and how he had been altered by that vision. And then he says, each of us has myriad possible incarnations that exist in the eternal present moment, all waiting to be discovered. And he explains the importance of mastering the concept of the present moment, the eternal now. Being in the now is a popular topic, but Dispenza takes it a bit further than simply not thinking about the past or the future. He offers insight into finding the place where we can turn possibility into reality by taking ourselves beyond body, identity, environment, and even beyond time itself, or our construct of time. We must get beyond who we think we are and how we've been conditioned to believe the world works in order to effect real change in our lives. I like the idea that we're living in every possible experience on Earth simultaneously. Think about this for a second. Every single possible combination of events, life forms, timelines, all happening simultaneously in the one mind. It's really too big an idea. And I don't know about you, but it kind of makes my brain hurt. It's too big an idea for the corporeal mind to realize. So we spend our lives trying to find our true identity, or at least to find a way of being that we think we can manage. But maybe it doesn't need to be so complicated. If you need to understand the science, go for it. There's no shortage of information about all of this stuff. In his book, The Biology of Belief, Bruce Lipton writes, "The belief that we are frail, biochemical machines controlled by genes is giving way to an understanding that we are powerful creators of our lives and to the world in which we live." This is science of mind, folks. A number of you might know that I lived in Costa Rica for nearly 5 years before I moved to New Mexico. And the first week that I landed there, I found myself way up in the jungle, the only person staying at this weird jungle resort, and I couldn't even find any staff. I mean, I just showed up in the middle of the jungle and picked a room. So I was sitting outside listening to the night sounds, and I was overwhelmed by the cicadas. I have a friend who told me I can't give this talk in the U.S. without saying cicada, but I can't do it. So there's an interesting natural law about those little critters. They tend to cluster together. They vibrate together, so the noise can be absolute cacophony in one spot, and half a mile away, nothing. Was this global headquarters? Try that again. It felt like global headquarters of the cicada community, because it was really bad, and I really thought I was going to go nuts with the noise. And I was wondering what the heck I could do about it. And I actually said out loud, "Could you please bring the cicadas down in the mix? They're driving me crazy." And then the epiphany. We are each this great cosmic soundboard with a dial for every aspect of our lives, not just in volume, but in quality. And we just have to know that we are the engineers. The cicadas were within my sphere of influence, whether I just dialed them down directly, or maybe I dialed up the sound of a little stream that was babbling nearby. We are the masters of our own soundboard. There's such incredible power in the mind. But it seems like the collective projector has gained momentum. External ideas and beliefs have become so hardwired, we've forgotten our original wiring, our ability to use our own minds to self-correct. So, how did this projected matrix that we live in become so compelling? You know, some people believe, oh, it was a calculated ruse to gain power and control by the earliest formations of those in power, whatever. I'm sure there's as many beliefs as there are people, but these stories just prove my point. Embedded beliefs are driving the car, and they're drunk. These beliefs that we carry from family, culture, recorded history, cellular memory, they're constantly triggering chemical responses in the body, which in turn create both emotions and memories. Paraphrasing from Dispenza's book, when you think a thought or have a memory, your brain begins to release certain chemical signals. And this is the first step in which immaterial thoughts literally become matter. They become chemical messengers, and they make your body feel exactly the way you were just thinking. And as soon as you notice you're feeling a certain way, you generate more thoughts that match how you're feeling, and you release more chemicals, and now you're caught in this loop where your thinking creates feeling, and your feeling creates thinking. This cycle is now your state of being, and you are effectively living in the past. And as you keep thinking those same thoughts, you're hardwiring your brain into the same patterns, and your brain then becomes an artifact of your past thinking. You've gone from emotion to memory, and this is creating your worldview. It happens so subtly and quickly and frequently, you don't even notice it, yet it is the entire driving force of your life. And the beauty of it is that once you understand what's happening, you can change it. Why would anyone want to argue against being creative and capable beyond their wildest dreams? Why would we want to argue that? Yet we do. We look at the world around us and we see something that's concrete and out of control, and we feel helpless. And then those feelings start this internal cycle, rinse and repeat. In her book, Get Out of Your Head, Jenny Allen explains it this way. Inside your brain are about 86 billion neurons, and each of those neurons has its own little microtubule. So for any of you who didn't know, you have about 86 billion microtubules, and you probably didn't know you had any. The microtubule's job is to build the structure that supports or holds your thought. It's constantly building and deconstructing and rebuilding. And that process actually physiologically alters your brain. It's a matter of minutes from the time you think a thought to that thought having actually physiologically changed you. We spin out on some idea. Those busy little microtubules build more and more and more and more support structures, and the thought becomes a belief, and then this is what we see in the world around us. And then we think it's real, but in truth, all that's real is that we are powerful beyond belief, and we can learn to use this power for good. I recently, again, many of you know I live up in the mountains, and I drive down this crazy mountain road to get here. And about a week ago, I had this massive God moment. I was making my way down this winding mountain road through the forest, and I was the first person driving on fresh snow. And it was so pristine, and the sun had not yet crested the mountain, so everything was really soft and gray and quiet. And even the car didn't seem to make any noise at all, and I felt like I was flying as I just made my way down the mountain. And I felt myself expanding into the beauty around me. And I literally became it, but I could see it all at the same time. There was this incredible depth to every detail, and I just felt pure awe. There was no mind chatter, no physical sensation. I was in a completely new reality. It was a massive experience, and I've had it happen for fleeting moments before, but I've never sustained it for 20 minutes. And it changed something inside my brain. I felt oneness at just a greater depth than I've ever felt it before. And not long afterwards, I found myself talking to a young couple, and they'd just had a new baby, and they already had a 2- and a 3-year-old, and they told me how the baby had cried all night long, and they were just exhausted and, shell-shocked. And I made the usual joke about whether or not they'd figured out how the babies kept happening. But then the feeling from the mountain filled me up. It just showed up and started spreading out in my body. And I just said, you know what, you're going to get through this. And I know that you are fully supplied, fully supported, and fully equipped to handle all this. And one day, you're going to look back and smile about it. And as I walked away, I realized I'd just given a declaration of truth to these people, which had the potential to change their lives if they were willing to borrow my belief. We as practitioners are taught to know and see and speak the truth for another. And so technically, and to the extent of my comprehension, I've understood this and I've practiced. When I'm doing a treatment for someone, I'm knowing it for them until they can know it for themselves. But what I didn't fully grasp until this particular God moment is that if I am truly alive in the awareness of my God being, every time I speak to someone, I'm doing a treatment for them. And here's the rub. With or without awareness, we are all practitioners. Our thoughts and our words have power. That message was for me. Just a few days later, something pushed a button. Now I was in the domes cleaning. And I caught myself replaying an old tape, and I realized it came from somewhere in my childhood, and I thought, geez, how many little buttons could there possibly be in there? Probably a huge percentage of my go-to neural pathways were developed or formed in childhood. And I just decided I needed a one-size-fits-all declaration to use if I feel hurt, angry, or fearful. So I just looked out the window and I said, I had a unique and wonderful childhood. My parents loved me and cared for me the very best they knew how. My upbringing has given me many gifts, and I'm really grateful for that. That's it. That's my one-size-fits-all. I had a unique and wonderful childhood, and my parents did the very best they knew how. That's a bit different from what was going on in my mind. And I did feel an immediate shift. And I thought, we're kind of like the parlor in a very old house. There are so many layers of paint on the walls, it's hard to tell what the original walls looked like. But if we scrape it all off, layer by layer, we'll eventually discover that the walls are made of light, and so are we. Our projector is throwing light, but no image. So the room is just filled with possibility instead of being filled with someone else's ideas. I think we are all undiscovered geniuses, wired to live huge, luminous lives. So get out your wallets and car keys, because authenticity is in the theaters now. Thanks very much. So if you'll join me for a moment in a closing prayer. I know that there is one force field of realignment, one power for good, one essence we call love, one vibrant force that is expressing itself and experiencing itself as every single living thing. As me, as you, as the beautiful flowers that grow outside, as the pets that warm our feet in the winter as they curl up beside us. Every living thing is an expression of this wonder, this awe, this thing called love, this thing called you. And so I know that I am essentially a beam of light. I know I am a vessel of love. I know that I am absolute creative power, fully supplied, fully held, fully supported, and fully able to move through the wonder and the beauty of this planet Earth in so many different and marvelous ways. How could we not be the wholeness and the fullness of the thing itself? We are the thing itself. And so I know I am vibrant and alive and happy and joyful and excited about the world around me and inventive and creative and healthy. I know that my world is the world that I co-create in my mind as I use my unique set of values and personality that is me to live as the thing itself in the material world. What a wonder. I'm grateful. And grateful is a word that I had to earn, but that's okay, because once I got it, it's like, wow, now I get it. That's pretty cool. Because gratitude is actually the real currency on this planet. So I am grateful for every one of those little funny moments that showed up, even though some of them didn't feel very funny at the time, but that's okay, because they all led to this moment, to this perfect now, this eternal moment in which I live and stand and move and have my being, knowing that it is all good and it is all for good. So I take that gratitude, I take that good, I declare it, I speak it to the plasticine nature of the law, and I declare that this and so much more is alive and active and growing and fulfilling and fruitful in this world. And so it is. And I'm going to give one little reminder that there's a visioning process that's happening after service at 12:30, and so just make sure that I know if you're going to stay for it after service so that we can gather together and do this practice. Thank you. Now I think we have to make more music. Okay. Do you have a pen?
Yep. You go. There's my paper. Okay, thank you.
There's your paper, sir. I'll take my water, though.
Okay. Thank you.
You might even want to stand up for this one. Oh, but you don't have to.
We'll see.
I was walking and talking with my mind set
on freedom.
I was walking and talking with my mind
Set on freedom.
I was
Walking and talking with my mind. Set on freedom.
Hallelujah.
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 I was walking and talking with my mind
Set on peace.
I was
Walking and talking with my mind. Set on peace.
I was
Walking and talking with my mind. Set on peace.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
walking and talking with my mind set on love. I was walking and talking with my mind set on love. I was walking and talking with my mind set on love. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I was walking and talking with my mind set on freedom. I was walking and talking with my mind set on freedom. I was walking and talking with my mind set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
My goodness, she brings it all. Thank you, music. Thank you for the talk. It was awesome. Wow, loved it. And now it's time when we think about giving back to the center. We don't pass the basket anymore, health-wise, but at each door you'll find a basket. That one isn't there, so go out that door. And one way to give to the center is through using Smile Amazon. So every time you use Amazon, 0.5% comes to the center. So I know some of you are out there using Amazon a lot. I don't happen to yet. And we give, believing in the flow of Spirit, 10% of everything that we receive goes back out into the community. And this month is going to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Wonderful organization. And having a special adult that the child can turn to gives a little greater self-confidence and leads to better choices and generates more hopeful plans for the future. And we all want that for every little out there. So consider even volunteering your time, but certainly 10% of what you receive, of what we receive all month, goes to Big Brothers. So please join me now as we affirm our blessings. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God and me. And we'll sing, I am blessed.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
Oh, I can tell you feel it. Thank you so much. We go forth today. Remember, there's visioning at 12:30, and there's prayer available for you right after the service, should you desire. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Oh, we're going to sing. Thank you, Bob.
And then you can have a wonderful week.
Or even start now.
Yeah, I like that. take. Let this be my solemn vow.